Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Iman Basit and I am a Teach Pakistan 2020 fellow. The last 2 years I have been teaching science and social studies to grade 4 and 5 in a government school in Tarnaul. It is an honor for me to be here today to speak to all of you on behalf of my cohort, to celebrate and reflect on the incredible journey this has been. We come out of this transformed into the people that we are today. Standing at the formal finish line, and I'm not using the word official because the journey that we began 2 years ago does not end here. And because Khatija and Tuba, who head this program, have promised to stay in our lives forever, whether we like it or not. Let us go back to how it all began in 2020. We joined this program in the fall of 2020 with the belief that this is going to be our opportunity to help improve Pakistan's education system. We had thought that our undergraduate degree, 21st century skills and textbook knowledge were all that were needed to save the system. Needless to say, very quickly we were proven wrong, but at that point, on the last day of a training period, we did not quite comprehend the gravity behind Dr. Faisal Bari's words when he said, "This experience will break you, let it. This experience will shatter you, let it. You will come out on the other end screaming, scream." The power behind his words surfaced within the first few months of our fellowship. We started our work in COVID. With schools closed for a long period of time, our students who study in government schools had no way to study. Their families were facing some of the harshest consequences of inequity and the pandemic. When schools finally reopened, learning loss was immense. Students in grade 5 were unable to read 3-letter words. When we worked with them to mitigate the impact of these problems, we realized what was harsh realities for us was just life for them. Our students and their families shared their laughters, joy, stories, their pain and their tears with us. And in that process, what was theirs became ours. Seeing the lived realities of a majority of our people up close, many of them hard beyond imagination, shattered us. But their joys, hope and strife rebuilt us. A classroom can be a magical place. Watching a student who can't read a sentence write their very own sentence for the first time is magical. Walking into a class to be greeted by 60 excited students, excited to learn, to play, to laugh, is magical. And it is in this very magical place that we started seeing possibilities. The power of possibilities. This power of possibilities is what has driven our cohort to take on the leadership role, push the boundaries and implement out-of-the-box strategies to ensure that our students gain the quality education that they deserve. Not one student, but all of our students. When students did not have any way to learn remotely, Maria, Osama, Noor and their co-fellows collectively fundraised and procured smartphones so their students could continue learning in stringent lockdowns. Sahar's 4th graders, who in the beginning were unable to read one sentence, began writing stories in English within 1 year of her teaching. Under Javeria's wings, her girls, who thought mathematics is not their cup of tea, finally let go of this belief and actively envisioned pursuing mathematics as a discipline. Mamoon taught his 4th grade students that expressing, holding and communicating emotions is a sign of masculinity and not a weakness. We set up community libraries, initiated teacher trainings and organized a city-wide STEM Olympiad. We accomplished so much more, just simply in pursuit of academic and moral excellence for our students. We worked hard for these accomplishments. But the hallmark of this fellowship is that we learn more than we could ever teach. There are many lessons that have shaped us, But I will take a few moments to share with you some of the most critical lessons in leadership that we take with us from here. Lessons we have learned from our students, their parents, our school staff, and the Teach for Pakistan staff. First, Pakistan's public education needs leadership for equity. Not bandages to symptoms of problems, but changes in the core ways our system operates for the excellence and benefit of all of Pakistan's children. We learned that this leadership begins with having hope. Hope that makes us believe that change is possible in the face of all adversity, and that the most complex of problems also have solutions. Our students taught us this when, despite school closure, lack of water and electricity in schools, tough financial conditions, they persevered and jumped 4 grade levels in just 2 years. Second, we learned that leadership is about listening to others and accepting with humility that those we claim to serve know better, and that their perspective and their effort has to be included as we all collectively push for change. Our students' parents taught us this. During the school closure phase, countless parents and community members led initiatives to procure smartphones and create a system to effectively ensure their children's participation in WhatsApp classes. As a result of which, by the second school closure phase, 100% of our students were able to continue distance learning through one means or the other. The third, effective leadership enables a collective towards a shared vision of change. An example of this comes from my school, Islamabad Model School for Girls, Badia Kadir Baksh. In our school, like many schools, there was a culture of negative discipline for students, where gaps in students' actions were almost always met with punishments. My co-fellows and I worked with the students, their parents, and the school staff to challenge this culture and change it. We enabled our students to exercise their agency and express their voices collectively by explaining to teachers what they feel in the face of punishment, and that it hampers their ability to learn. Our teachers, who were not ill-intentioned, we worked with them to co-create strategies they could use instead of punishment to help the students learn in a constructive environment. Teachers ceased to resort to corporal punishment and instead actively tried to incorporate child-friendly practices to maintain classroom discipline and encourage students to work harder. In our school, as a collective, over time, we have shunned the concept of punishments. From here on, thanks to our school's principal, Ms. Sumaila Liaqat's bold step, we have a school grievances committee that is responsible for hearing and solving problems students face in school. Therefore, it is not by having power over people, by creating power with people, that sustainable change is achieved. The kind of change that does not depend on certain individuals, but rather it flows independently because it is based on strong systems, processes, and practices. To this end, we collectively move towards system change, a system where every child gets the best opportunities and the best education, regardless of their gender, class, caste, or creed. And we know now, after having done this fellowship, that this envisioning of an equitable future does not look like a revolution where one day justice is achieved. Rather, this envisioning of an equitable future comes in small dents, small wins. And this would not have been possible without the countless hours of emotional and intellectual support Tuba and Khatija provided us, the numerous times our coaches guided us in moments we doubted our competencies, and most importantly, the principals and teachers who lovingly accepted us into their ecosystem and shared without any hesitation their rich knowledge and experience. The lighter moments we have shared over scrumptious biryanis and kormas are memories we will hold very dear to our heart. Our journey does not end here. In fact, it is only a beginning of sorts. Our fellowship experience has transformed us by allowing us to engage authentically by being a part of the system, as a result of which not only were we able to understand grassroots realities but also issues at the policy level. Most importantly, this experience has taught us with our privilege, we also have the great responsibility to work towards educational equity. And as part of the Teach for Pakistan movement now, this work has become personal for us. And we cannot be bystanders in the face of injustices anymore, because we do have a stake in this system, as my freedom, your freedom, and our freedom is linked to the freedom of all children in Pakistan. Standing here today, I am so proud to be part of an organization that stands for love, kindness, acceptance, and inclusivity. Because these are the 4 values that the world leadership and Pakistan's leadership needs now more than ever. The road ahead is tough, but I am confident each one of us leaves this place with incredible lessons that will enable us to exercise leadership wherever we go next. And as we all know, it takes a village to bring real change. And Teach for Pakistan is that village, which is creating leaders, trailblazers, nurturing policymakers every day, so that one day all of Pakistan's children can become thinking, loving, and engaged citizens of Pakistan. Thank you. थैंक यू वेरी मच. और अब आपने हम फेलोज़ की कहानी सुनी है कि हमारे लिए जर्नी कैसी थी. लेकिन आज हमारे साथ जो हमारा नॉर्थ स्टार है, जो हमारे बच्चे हैं, उनमें से भी एक आई हैं. उनका नाम है नादिया हबीब. नादिया जो है वो बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट है, और जैसे कि खदीजा ने मेरे बारे में कहा, नादिया ने मुझसे हर लेसन में ऐसे ऐसे सवाल पूछे हैं जिनका जवाब हमेशा ये था, वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन, अगली क्लास में बताऊंगी. तो लेट अस हियर फ्रॉम नादिया कि उनके लिए ये 2 साल क्या थे और कैसे रहे.